30 brand new Strange New Worlds Season 3 photos have just dropped, and you won't believe what they reveal. Let's check out every stunning detail right now. Well, hey everyone, I'm Nick, and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, Paramount has certainly dumped a lot of promotional material on us recently for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Not only have we had posters and episode titles and a new trailer to look at this week, but today we've got 30 new promo photos to take a look at for Season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And today we're going to look at all these new photos from the production, which gives us a little bit more of a clue into, that's going on in that episode. Oh, that's going on in that episode. So we're going to have a look and take some really in-depth look at some of these promo photos. Zoom in nice and close, see what we can tell from stuff that's going on in the background and the foreground and everything, and work out what we might be up for in the new season of the show. So let's get right into it. Okay, so for starters, here's a photo from episode 1, the Hegemony Part 2 episode, which no doubt would be on board the Gorn ship. It looks very biological in this image here. We've got sort of veins and big sort of fluid sacs and tendrils and things coming off the ceiling. The Gorn ship clearly are very much biological or organic in nature. And in this shot, if we zoom in, we can see Ortegas crouching on the ground there, Lan standing above her, and it looks like we've got Benga in the middle there, and someone else whose back is to camera. We can't tell who that is. I think this is a really cool design. I don't think we've had all that many biological kind of looking ships. I mean, there's been a few over the years in Star Trek, but this is kind of a really kind of interesting environment. In our next shot here, also from the first episode of the season, Hegemony, we see Spock and Chapel in these biohazard suits. These suits are a bit of a callback to the original series where we saw Spock wearing something very similar in the original series episode. Even the patterning and everything on them is very much inspired by those original suits we saw Spock wear. Chapel's got a few scratches on her face. If we zoom in and have a look, she's got some cuts on her nose, on her cheek, around her eye. She's been in a bit of a bad way. Well, it'll be interesting to see what caused these little injuries of hers. Here's a shot of Spock in his environmental suit in this new science lab set here on board the Enterprise, which kind of looks cool. Here's another shot from the first episode of the season. We see number 1 at Ortegas' station. Obviously, Ortegas captured there by the Gorn in this first episode, so obviously number 1 has to fill her chair, which, you know, she did earlier, I think, anyway, when she first came to be the first officer on the Enterprise. I think she fulfilled this station as well as being first officer as well. So she's no stranger to sitting in that chair. Pike on the bridge there in his away mission outfit with Mitchell and number 1 there at the console in front of him. Pike looking very concerned here. No doubt this is early on in the first episode of the season. Here's a shot of Spock at his console on the bridge. Pike and Scotty and Pelia all in kind of like a science lab. This is one of the new sets they've got for this season, which should be cool to see. We've got a lot of stuff going on the table there. We've got cables and devices and everything. Pike's in his away mission outfit. He's probably getting ready to head an away team down to rescue the crew from the Gorn, and we've got Scotty and Pelia working on some sciencey solution here back up on the ship. Here's another shot from that same scene, just a slightly different camera angle. Scotty and Pelia sharing a bit of a moment of humour there, both smiling and laughing. We've got all these devices and everything on the table there in front of them. And from the schematics in the background, whatever it is they're working on the table there, it looks like they've got, you know, similar schematics on the back wall that showcases whatever they're trying to put together here. And it looks like Pelly is clutching what appears to be some sort of portable fan. It's like maybe she's getting some hot flushes or something and she needs a fan to cool down. Who knows? We see Laan in her away mission uniform, very much covered in slime and crud and everything. Obviously, it's a bit of a messy proposition being captured by the Gorn when they stick you in what appears to be some giant kind of stomach. All their technology all being very biological. It's obviously a bit sticky. And here is a shot from episode 2 of the season, which is the Wedding Bell Blues episode, where we see Uhura and Ortegas' brother sharing a bit of a drink here, a glass of wine or a cocktail or something. But yeah, they're having a bit of a laugh. And I wonder whose wedding it is, being Wedding Bell Blues. So obviously the celebration's going on. Interesting to see just whose wedding it is. Here is a shot from episode 3, which is the Shuttle to Kenfori episode. Now this is going to be the Klingon zombie episode, where we've got Mbenga and Pike on an away mission, looking somewhat concerned. He's looking on, going, oh, geez, how are we going to get out of this one? Here is a shot from episode 4, the A Space Adventure Hour episode, which is going to be the holodeck episode, where we get the Hollywood murder mystery. We've got Mbenga looking a little bit kind of like a 70s pimp in this photo, and it looks like Chapel is taking on kind of one of his ladies of the night in this photo. So I think the production design of this episode, with all the costuming and sets and everything, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be one of those typical kind of Agatha Christie style or whodunit kind of episodes. Pretty sure Jonathan Frakes is directing that episode, and he always directs a good episode, so that should be an entertaining one. Clearly, Laan is taking on the investigator role in this holodeck program, playing the Miss Marple or the Jessica Fletcher kind of role, for those of you who remember Murder, She Wrote. It's interesting that Spock is not participating in this holodeck situation. He's still got his Starfleet uniform on, so everybody is kind of part of this holodeck situation except for Spock. So I wonder what's going on there. Laan as the investigator. We've got Kirk there in the brown leather jacket in the front, and Ortegas behind him. Pike looking very nerdy and goofy, out of focus there in the background behind Laan. Obviously, that episode is not just completely on board a holodeck, because we've got number 1 and Pike here in Pike's ready room. They're talking to somebody, but the expressions on their face seem a bit perplexed. So they're not overly impressed with whatever is transpiring. Appear to be on board the Enterprise, which we know does not have a holodeck. So I'm guessing the holodeck is going to be on a starbase somewhere, or on a planet's surface somewhere, where they're kind of testing this new technology. It obviously hasn't been rolled out across the board to every starship like it was in Next Generation, but there might be just one, very, very early prototype, maybe planet-side or on a starbase or something. Here's a shot from episode 5, the Through the Lens of Time episode. This episode obviously sees Dr. Corby come into it, and we know there's a bit of a thing between Chapel and Corby, but we also know that there's still some stuff going on between Chapel and Spock. So obviously we'll be getting a little bit of love triangle stuff going on here in this episode, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And obviously we've got an away mission on an alien planet. We've got some glyphs in the background on a big pillar. We've got Uhura, Chapel and Corby in this away team, and some sort of control panel there at the bottom of frame. Here is another shot from episode 5, where we see Pelia and Scotty and Sam Kirk. They're obviously working on something in this new science lab set, and Pelia is looking a little bit concerned, as is Sam Kirk and Scotty. They're obviously concerned probably about the away team we just saw in the previous shot. Mbenga holding a pad and a medical scanner, looking a little bit concerned as well. Now we get a shot from episode 6, the Cell Hut who ate its tail. This obviously is an episode where we get to see Kirk taking some more command type positions going on. We've got him and Spock having a bit of bonding, furthering their relationship that we know develops quite a lot in original series. Kirk's looking a little bit shabby. He's got a bit of dust and a bit of soot on his uniform there, so obviously they've been in a bit of a messy environment. This is probably the episode we saw from the trailer, where we saw Kirk maybe taking the command chair in an episode. And this next shot again from episode 6, where we see number 1 and Pike looking somewhat worried, standing on the bridge of the Enterprise with Mitchell there in the bottom right-hand corner of frame. This shot from the same scene, just a different camera angle. Serious things are going on. See, they're probably at red alert based on all the colours and the lights in the background. And it would appear that episode 6 is the one where we get to see the retro kind of goings on board the Enterprise. So we've got Pelia here talking on an old-fashioned telephone, and this is the one where we saw in a previous trailer where they're hot wiring or jury rigging communications on board the Enterprise to be old retro phone technology. I wonder whether all these telephones have come from Pelia's storage, because we know Pelia is a bit of an antique collector, and she's a bit of a hoarder of antiques and old retro kind of stuff and everything. So I wonder whether something's gone down on board the Enterprise, and Pelia's had to box some crates in storage or something which hold some of these old antiques that she has, some old telephones and whatnot, maintaining communications on board the Enterprise. Here's a shot of Ortegas from episode 7, What is Starfleet? She's looking very serious here. The ship is at red alert, finger hovering over the phaser button or something there, ready to fire. And it looks like number 1 is striking a bit of a Riker pose with the whole leg there. Look, only thing missing is a chair to swing it over. Here's a shot of Patton Oswalt as a Vulcan character whose name is Doug. Not a particularly Vulcan-esque name. Doug is a very human name. Unless, of course, this character is, of course, human, but is made to appear Vulcan. Maybe he's another Enterprise crew member who has been transformed into a Vulcan, hence his name being Doug, and not something that sounds a little bit more Vulcan-like. But that being said, the episode title is 4.5 Vulcans, not 5.5 Vulcans, and we know the other members of the crew who have become Vulcans. And here's a shot of them just after the serum has been administered. I can understand them all suddenly growing pointy ears, but I'm not quite sure how their hairstyles all changed all of a sudden. Kind of seems a little bit of a implausible stretch. Uhura and Laan Chapel and Pike all transformed into Vulcans, and Spock being the half Vulcan there amongst the crew. Here's a shot of Spock and Mbenga and Pelia in the sick bay on board Enterprise. Here's a shot in Pike's quarters, obviously having a big dinner party here. Everyone's drinking red wine. We've got Battelle and Laan and number 1 and Pike there, all enjoying a bit of a nice dinner party at Pike's quarters. These dinner parties look like fun. I'd like to go to one of Pike's dinner parties. I reckon it'd be good food and good conversation. Well, definitely some interesting photos there, and also putting some of the photos to the episode numbers and titles, I think, was kind of cool as well. Being able to see, oh yeah, that's from that episode, that's what that episode's all about. So we've now got a pretty good sense as to what we're up for in season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Although it is kind of interesting that we only got photos from episodes 1 through to 8. We didn't get any photos for episode 9, Terrarium, or episode 10, New Life and New Civilization. So maybe they're secretly holding back some photos from these episodes, which are a little bit of a mystery, but I'm guessing episode 9's probably the episode with Rhys Darby in it as the Trelane Q character. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, be sure to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay current and up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. And be sure to check out my merch in the merch store. Plenty of cool Star Trek themed t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, stickers and everything. They're always at really discounted bargain sale prices. And pick yourself up a bargain. It helps support the channel. Much appreciated. I'll be back soon with the next video. See you guys soon.